Common belief in our world that success belongs to the young, that those who win begin early, shine brightly in their 20s, and ride that wave for the rest of their lives. But history tells us a different story. Life itself whispers another truth. The great oak tree does not burst from the ground in a single season. It begins as a seed, hidden, slow to grow, patient in its unfolding, and only after years of unseen preparation does it become the towering giant that shades generations. So it is with many men and women who are called late bloomers. They spend their early years learning, struggling, experimenting, even stumbling, while the world races ahead of them. Yet when the time comes, they rise with a strength and maturity that those who burn too quickly can no longer match. The world remembers them not for how fast they started, but for how lasting their victory became. Consider the lives of many great creators, inventors, and leaders. Some seemed almost invisible in their youth. They were overlooked, underestimated, perhaps even written off as failures by their peers. But they kept working, thinking, and quietly growing inside. By the time they bloomed, they did so with depth, with resilience, and with an understanding of themselves that can only come through years of trial. You see, there is no stopwatch in the race of personal destiny. There is only alignment between who you are, what you have prepared, and the season of your life when opportunity meets readiness. The late bloomer is not late at all. He is right on time for his time. If you think carefully, you will notice that the greatest wealth a person can carry is not money, not accolades, but wisdom. Wisdom is what allows one to multiply wealth, to create meaning, to endure hardship, and to stand unshaken when storms arrive. Wisdom takes time to form. It does not come in the rush of youth. Though the young may be intelligent, clever, or ambitious, wisdom comes from the lived experience of failure and recovery, of searching and finding, of being tested and tempered. And when wisdom and ambition finally meet, they form an unstoppable force. This is the secret of the late bloomer. They bloom later because they are building deeper roots. The early starter often wins applause, but applause is fleeting. The late bloomer builds permanence. They may not impress the crowd at 25, but at 50, when the applause for others has faded, their contribution continues to expand. And so the late bloomer is a living lesson that life is not a sprint, but a process of becoming. Too many people give up before they ever reach the point where their bloom is ready. They judge themselves by artificial timelines, comparing themselves to others, forgetting that their season is different. They abandon the field just before their harvest. You must not do this. Your bloom is coming if you remain faithful to the process of growth. Now, let us be practical. What does it mean to be a late bloomer in everyday life? It means that you do not measure your success by the calendar of another person's journey. It means that you see every struggle, every delay, every detour not as punishment but as preparation. You understand that there is a season to sow, a season to tend, and a season to reap. When others are impatient, you practice patience. When others demand instant reward, you keep investing in yourself. And when the time comes, the fruit of your life will be so abundant that those who doubted you will wonder how it appeared all at once, not realizing it was the product of years of unseen cultivation. Let me ask you a question. Who truly wins, the one who bursts into brilliance early, only to fade before maturity, or the one who matures slowly and brings forth lasting greatness? The world often answers with the first, but reality always proves it to be the second. There is a law of compensation in life that never fails. What you lack in speed, you gain in strength. The late bloomer is not racing against others, but against himself. His victory is not about beating the clock, but about mastering his own development. The law is this: everything you become is the result of everything you endure. Say it aloud and write it down. Everything I become is the result of everything I endure. When you ingrain this into your mind, you will never again feel behind in life. And here's another truth. Those who bloom late often surpass those who bloomed early. Why? Because they have had more time to observe, to think, to accumulate lessons, to refine their aim. By the time they move into their season, they know exactly who they are and what they are about. They are not distracted by every new opportunity, nor are they fragile in the face of criticism. They carry themselves with certainty. They move with precision. And because their foundation is strong, they rise higher than they ever imagined possible. This is why you must never lose heart if your life seems delayed. Delay is not denial. It is a refining process. Every frustration is a teacher. Every apparent failure is a builder of character. Every quiet season is storing strength for a loud season to come. You must not despise your small beginnings, nor measure your worth by temporary results. Remember, the oak was once a seed hidden underground, forgotten by all. But the seed knew what it was becoming, and it waited for its appointed time. So must you. If you are listening now and feel discouraged, thinking you are behind, I want you to know this: you are not late. You are in preparation. The world needs your contribution at its appointed season, not a moment before, not a moment after. Stop comparing yourself. Stop measuring your timeline against another's highlight reel. Your path is yours, and it is sacred. Trust the timing of your life. Your bloom will be all the more beautiful because it came with patience, persistence, and faith. Let us seal this truth together with a declaration. Write it on paper, speak it aloud, engrave it into your heart. I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubt. Say it slowly, with conviction, as though you were carving it into stone. This is not just a sentence, it is a law, a compass, and a promise. And when you hold it close, you will discover that being a late bloomer is not a weakness, it is your greatest advantage. The late bloomer wins not only because of patience, but because of depth. A shallow root cannot withstand a storm. A tree with deep roots may sway, but it will not fall. And so it is with you. The years of apparent delay, the seasons of silence, the moments when you felt invisible, those were not wasted. They were seasons in which your roots were reaching down into the soil of experience. Every challenge you overcame, every disappointment you survived, every setback you rose from, was building hidden strength. Others may have grown quickly, but their roots remain near the surface. When the storm comes, as it always does, the shallow roots are exposed. The deep roots hold. That is why the late bloomer outlasts. Think for a moment of the principle of compounding. Money, when invested wisely, multiplies over time. In the beginning, the growth seems small, almost insignificant, but as the years pass, the compounding effect creates staggering results. The same principle applies to your growth as a human being. Every day you persist, every lesson you internalize, every skill you sharpen, every hour you dedicate quietly compounds. To the outside observer, nothing appears to be happening, but then, seemingly overnight, the results are undeniable. The late bloomer benefits from the compounding of wisdom, experience, and discipline. That is why they win big, not because they rushed, but because they endured. There is another law of life you must understand if you are to embrace the power of blooming late. It is the law of proportion. Life rewards us not in sudden bursts, but in exact proportion to the service we render, the contribution we make, and the value we create. Most people quit before their service has matured. They want reward before proportion has balanced the scale. The late bloomer keeps going. They understand that life is fair, that results do not appear without the work to justify them. They know that every day of persistence is building credit with the law of proportion. Say it aloud, write it down, and commit it to your memory. My rewards will always be in proportion to my contribution. Let this law echo in your thoughts until it becomes second nature. Now reflect on this. The late bloomer often has a richer story, a more inspiring example, because their life is a testament to resilience. The world looks at them and says, if he could rise, so can I. If she could endure, so can I. That is why societies remember their names. The late bloomer's success is not just personal, it is generational. It lifts others by its example. It tells every struggling soul that hope is not lost, that the game is not over, that time is still on their side. And perhaps the greatest gift of being a late bloomer is the compassion it builds within you. Having endured much, you understand others more deeply. Having waited long, you value every opportunity more fully. One of the greatest dangers in life is premature success. It often destroys more than it builds. The young man who gains wealth without wisdom squanders it. The young woman who gains fame without character suffers under it. But the late bloomer is immune to this danger, for they have paid the price in patience. They have developed the character to carry their blessing. They have grown strong enough to handle what they once only dreamed of. This is why you should never despise the delay in your life. The delay is not a curse, it is protection. Life is protecting you from carrying a weight you are not yet ready for. And when you are ready, nothing will be able to stop you. Let me bring this closer to you. Perhaps right now you feel stuck in your work. You feel as though you've been trying for years with little recognition or reward. You look around and see others who seem far ahead, and you wonder if it's too late for you. Let me tell you, it is not too late. Your story is still unfolding. The moment you decide to persist with clarity, to continue with faith, to work each day with purpose, you are moving toward your bloom. Do not measure the harvest before it arrives. Focus on the planting, the tending, the daily contribution. Trust that the law of proportion will do its work. And so I ask you, what would you rather be? A spark that flashes briefly and fades, or a flame that burns steadily and lights the way for years to come. A racehorse that tires before the finish, or a steady climber who reaches the summit while others have already turned back. The late bloomer answers with his life. Endurance beats speed, persistence beats excitement, and depth beats flash. The bloom that comes later in life often shines brighter because it was earned slowly, honestly, and without shortcuts. The truth is, we are all seeds planted in different soils, under different conditions, and with different seasons appointed to us. Some seeds sprout quickly, others slowly, but all must follow the law of growth. You cannot rush a seed, you cannot force a harvest. You can only prepare the ground, plant the seed, water it daily, and trust the process. Your life is no different. What you are becoming is hidden now, but it is real. You must not quit. You must not despise the hidden years. Those years are your investment. They are buying you strength, clarity, and wisdom that will make your bloom unmistakable when it arrives. Let us seal part 2 with another declaration, one that ingrains this law deep within you. Say it aloud, write it down, and repeat it until it lives in your spirit. I trust the timing of my life, for my season will not fail. This is the creed of the late bloomer. This is the power of patience turned into victory. There is a rhythm to life, a pattern as old as the seasons, and those who learn to trust that rhythm never feel behind. The farmer does not curse the winter because the crops have not appeared. He understands the winter is as essential as the harvest. The seed must rest in darkness before it can rise in light, and so it is with the late bloomer. Their apparent delay is not a mistake but a season. The world may mock, it may compare, it may push the idea that success must be instant, but the truth is eternal. Growth follows order. You cannot harvest before you plant, you cannot reap before you sow, and you cannot bloom before your roots are deep enough to sustain the weight of your greatness. This understanding separates those who endure from those who give up. Most people, unaware of the laws of life, demand immediate results. They plant seeds today and expect fruit tomorrow. When nothing appears, they abandon the field, declaring the ground barren. But the late bloomer keeps planting, keeps watering, keeps tending, knowing the process is invisible before it is visible. That is why they succeed. They are not deceived by appearances. They know that the unseen governs the seen, that the roots come before the branches, and that the law of growth will not be cheated. I urge you now, take out a pen and write this down. The unseen governs the seen. Say it aloud with conviction, for this law will anchor you when nothing seems to be happening. Let me remind you of a remarkable truth. Every person blooms at the exact moment they are meant to, no sooner, no later. A flower forced to open before its time will wither, but one that opens naturally will last. The world may try to force you into timelines that do not belong to you. It may say, by this age you should have achieved this, by that age you should have accomplished that. But those are illusions, invented measures of success that enslave the mind. The reality is that life is not a race against others, but a journey of alignment with your own potential. The late bloomer is free because they no longer compete with the clock. They compete only with themselves, and they win by becoming who they were designed to be. If you doubt this, look to history. How many men and women did the world ignore until later years? They were thought of as failures, dreamers, or eccentrics. But they carried within them an idea, a vision, or a persistence that time eventually rewarded. Their bloom did not come early, but when it came, it changed the world. You must understand this. The value of your contribution is not measured by the speed of your success, but by the depth of your preparation. Do not fear being overlooked. Do not fear being underestimated. The oak does not ask permission from the grass to grow taller. It simply rises when its time has come. Here lies another law that governs the late bloomer, and I want you to engrave it in your mind. Delay builds strength, and strength builds destiny. Say it aloud, write it down, and let it take root in your consciousness. When you feel frustrated by time, remember that every day of waiting is adding muscle to your spirit, clarity to your vision, and depth to your character. The early bloomer may sprint ahead, but without endurance they fade. The late bloomer trains quietly for the marathon, and when the finish line appears, they have strength enough to not only cross it, but to keep running beyond it. We live in an age of impatience. Everything is fast, instant, immediate. Messages travel across the world in seconds, and we begin to believe our lives should unfold at the same speed. But greatness has never been instant. It has always required patience. The pyramids were not built in a day, nor was Rome, nor any enduring legacy. So why should your destiny be any different? The late bloomer understands that patience is not weakness, but power under control. Patience is the armor of the wise. It is the shield that protects against discouragement, and the sword that cuts through doubt. The late bloomer's journey is not easy, but it is rewarding. While others are chasing recognition, they are building resilience. While others crave applause, they crave mastery. And while others measure life by how quickly they can climb, the late bloomer measures by how firmly they can stand. That is why their success is not only sweeter but stronger. It lasts because it is built on foundation, not on sand. When the storms of life arrive, and they will, the late bloomer stands unmoved because their roots were forged in silence, in obscurity, in seasons when no one was watching. Perhaps you, listening now, feel that silence. You feel unseen. You feel as though your work, your sacrifice, your effort is unnoticed. But let me remind you, the roots grow unseen. What you are building in silence will one day speak so loudly that the world cannot ignore it. Trust the silence, trust the unseen, trust the law that governs all growth. Say it to yourself whenever you feel forgotten. My roots are growing even when no one sees them. And let us end this section with a declaration that seals the truth into your mind, one you must repeat daily until it becomes a part of you. Speak it now, write it on your paper, carry it in your heart. I am not behind, I am being prepared. Each word is a shield against comparison, each phrase a sword against despair. Say it until it is etched into your identity, and you will discover that being a late bloomer is not a delay but a divine design. There comes a point in the life of every late bloomer when the years of hidden work, of quiet preparation, of silent endurance begin to converge into visible results. This is often called the tipping point, the moment when what was once invisible suddenly becomes undeniable. To the outside observer, it seems as though success appeared overnight, but to the late bloomer, it is the harvest of long seasons of planting and tending. The world calls it sudden, but it is not sudden at all. It is the natural consequence of persistence. And when this moment comes, it does not slip away. It endures, for it was built not on impulse but on principle, not on chance but on law. You must understand that your bloom, whenever it arrives, is not a random accident. It is governed by the law of cause and effect. For every effect in life there is a cause, for every result a process. The late bloomer trusts this law and aligns with it. They do not waste energy lamenting delays or comparing themselves to others. They know that if they plant the right seeds and nurture them faithfully, the harvest must appear. It is not a question of if, but of when. Write this down and say it aloud. The harvest must appear. Ingrain this truth so deeply in your mind that you no longer question whether your work matters. You know it matters because you understand the law. Now think of the character forged in waiting. When you are forced to wait for your season, you either grow bitter or you grow strong. The late bloomer chooses strength. They learn patience, they learn endurance, they learn humility. These qualities, invisible at first, become the very virtues that make their bloom worth celebrating. Without patience, success becomes arrogance. Without endurance, success collapses under stress. Without humility, success poisons the soul. The waiting seasons build these qualities into the late bloomer, and when their time comes, they carry their greatness with dignity and power. The truth is that every late bloomer has walked through valleys of doubt. There were moments they wanted to quit, moments they believed they had missed their chance. But they pressed on, and each time they pressed forward against discouragement, they built inner muscle. They discovered that failure was not final, that delay was not defeat, that hardship was not the end, and in that discovery they grew unshakable. This is why late bloomers inspire others so profoundly. Their story is not one of ease, but of resilience, and resilience is what the world truly needs. Let us bring this closer to you. Perhaps you are in such a valley now. You see others rise, you feel left behind, you wonder if your bloom will ever come. Hear me clearly. The very fact that you are still standing, still listening, still searching, proves that your story is not finished. Do not let comparison steal your courage. Do not let impatience rob your harvest. Your season is appointed, and your role is to prepare, to give your best today without bitterness, without despair. Say it with me now and write it down. I will not quit before my season arrives. This affirmation is not mere words, it is armor for your spirit. The world is full of men and women who gave up too soon. They abandoned their vision because it did not bloom fast enough. They compared themselves into defeat. They let discouragement blind them to the process. Do not be among them. Stand apart. Refuse to quit. Refuse to compare. Refuse to let temporary silence convince you of permanent failure. Instead, live by the law of cause and effect. Know that every action has a return, every seed a harvest, every effort a reward. This is not wishful thinking, it is universal law. And when you align with it, you cannot lose. There is a hidden blessing in blooming late that the early bloomer never experiences. Because you have waited longer, you value more deeply. Because you have endured more, you appreciate more fully. You do not take your success lightly, nor do you waste it carelessly. You carry it with gratitude, and gratitude magnifies it. Gratitude turns success into fulfillment. Gratitude turns achievement into legacy. This is the advantage of the late bloomer. Not only do they win with perspective, with character, with wisdom that makes their victory complete. Another principle worth noting is that late bloomers often arrive when the world needs them most. A voice that would have been ignored earlier is welcomed later. A gift that seemed unnecessary in one season becomes essential in another. The timing of your bloom is not random. It is synchronized with the needs of the world. Your preparation aligns with opportunity at just the right moment. Trust this, believe this, and let it remove every trace of doubt from your mind. You are not late. You are appointed. Let us seal this section with a declaration of certainty. Write it on your paper. Speak it aloud with conviction. Carry it with you through every valley of waiting. My harvest is guaranteed because my seeds are true. Say it until you believe it. Believe it until you live it. Live it until you see it. And when you do, you will understand that the bloom of the latecomer is not just victory, it is destiny fulfilled. The world has a peculiar habit of celebrating the sprinters while overlooking the marathoners. We admire the meteors that streak brightly across the sky, forgetting that they burn out almost as quickly as they appear. Yet it is the stars' steady, constant enduring that guide sailors across oceans and generations across time. The late bloomer is such a star. They are not dazzling for a moment, but enduring for a lifetime. Their contribution may not capture headlines in their early years, but it will shape legacies in their later ones. This is the mark of true victory, the quiet power of those who arrive when others have already fallen away. Think about the stories that endure in our memory. The heroes we admire most are rarely those who peaked early and vanished. They are the ones who overcame, who endured, who persisted against odds. Their lives carry weight not because of how fast they started, but because of how long they stood. That is the essence of the late bloomer. Their story is a living parable that whispers to every struggling soul, it is not too late for you. You can still rise. And in a world obsessed with instant gratification, that message is more precious than gold. For it reminds us that the true race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to those who endure until their time has come. One of the most overlooked strengths of the late bloomer is perspective. Having waited, having struggled, having tasted both failure and obscurity, they see life with a clarity others cannot. They are not deceived by glamour or shallow applause. They know the difference between noise and substance, between appearance and reality. And because they know, they build differently. They do not chase every trend or bend to every whim. They plant deeply, invest wisely, choose carefully. This perspective is born of time, and time is the teacher of the late bloomer. That is why when their success comes, it is not fragile. It is rooted in discernment, in clarity, in wisdom that others could not have known without years of refinement. The law of endurance belongs to the late bloomer. It states simply this: endurance outlasts speed. Say it aloud, write it down, etch it into your spirit. Endurance outlasts speed. This law is not mere philosophy. It is proven in every arena of life. The runner who begins too fast cannot finish strong. The investor who seeks instant gain often ends in ruin. The student who wants mastery without repetition falls short. But the one who endures, who stays steady, who trusts the long road, always arrives. Endurance is the secret weapon of the late bloomer, and it guarantees that their bloom, though later, is stronger, richer, and longer lasting than any quick success. Now consider what endurance does to the human spirit. It chisels away weakness, it sharpens focus, it hardens resolve, it teaches you to stand when you feel like collapsing, to rise when you feel like sinking, to press forward when you feel like turning back. Each trial endured adds another layer of strength. Each delay survived adds another measure of patience. Each disappointment overcome adds another ounce of wisdom. Slowly, silently, endurance is building within you a character unbreakable by time, unshaken by criticism, unstoppable by opposition. This is the making of the late bloomer, and it is why when they finally rise, they rise like mountains, immovable and majestic. Do not think endurance is simply about waiting. It is about active persistence. The late bloomer is not passive. They do not sit idly hoping for their season. They prepare, they practice, they refine, they build. Each day they are adding to their arsenal, strengthening their foundation, sharpening their tools. They do not wait idly for opportunity. They prepare themselves so fully that when opportunity arrives, they are more than ready to seize it. The years of endurance become years of preparation, and preparation transforms into victory. It is important to recognize that the late bloomer is not just an individual triumph, but a social necessity. Every generation needs voices of wisdom tempered by time, tested by fire. The late bloomer becomes such a voice. They remind the impatient youth that rushing can ruin. They remind the weary adult that delay is not defeat. They remind the doubter that timing is personal, not universal. And by their example, they restore hope to countless others who would have otherwise surrendered. Their victory becomes not just personal, but collective, for it lifts others by its very existence. Perhaps you have asked yourself, why has it taken me so long? Why is my progress slow? Why am I not yet where I hope to be? The answer may be simple, because your story is meant to be an anchor, not a spark. You are meant to last, not just to flash. And for that, you must endure. You must carry the lessons of patience, of strength, of wisdom into your bloom, so that your victory will not be wasted but will multiply. Do not resent the time it takes. Do not despise the slow road. The slow road is shaping you, molding you, preparing you for greatness that will not crumble. Let us close this section with another declaration, a law of endurance that you must affirm daily. Say it aloud, write it on your paper, and speak it until it becomes the rhythm of your heart. I endure, therefore I prevail. These words are more than a mantra, they are truth. They are proof that delay cannot defeat you and time cannot rob you. Endurance is the crown of the late bloomer, and when you wear it, you will discover that true victory belongs not to the swift, but to the steadfast. There is another advantage given to the late bloomer, one that often goes unnoticed until their bloom arrives. It is the advantage of clarity. While others rushed ahead, chasing every glittering opportunity, the late bloomer was forced to slow down, to reflect, to question, to refine. They spent more time in the shadows of thought, more time wrestling with doubt, more time learning what truly matters. And in that process, they discovered something priceless, clarity of purpose. When their season arrives, they are not distracted or scattered. They know exactly who they are, exactly what they want, and exactly why they are pursuing it. This clarity is worth more than gold, because it directs all their energy with precision. Clarity is the gift of time, and time is the gift of patience. The late bloomer's years of obscurity become years of focus, and this focus becomes their secret weapon. While others may waste energy on pursuits that do not last, the late bloomer channels everything into what matters most. This is why their bloom is often more impactful than the early achievers. They are not experimenting when they arrive, they are executing. They are not guessing, they are certain, and certainty carries power. The world listens to those who are clear. The world follows those who know where they are going. The late bloomer earns this clarity through time, and when it comes, it turns their bloom into a beacon. One of the most destructive myths of our time is the belief that faster is better. We believe that speed is always an advantage, but speed without direction is waste. It is running in circles, moving quickly, but going nowhere. The late bloomer is proof that clarity beats speed. That is why I want you to ingrain this law into your consciousness. Clarity beats speed. Write it on your paper. Say it aloud with conviction. Clarity beats speed. Let it guide your choices. Let it anchor your mind. And let it remind you that your pace is not your problem. Your purpose is your compass. Consider how clarity transforms the battles of life. The unclear person is fragile. They are easily swayed by opinion, easily discouraged by setback, easily tempted by distraction. But the clear person is unshakable. They may face the same storms, the same failures, the same delays, but their vision holds them steady. They know what they are working toward, and because they know, they cannot be moved. This is why the late bloomer is often more resilient than the early bloomer. Their clarity makes them immune to chaos. They have fought the battles of doubt long before the world ever noticed them, and having won those battles, they cannot be defeated when their bloom appears. Let me ask you directly. Do you know where you are going? Or are you only rushing to keep up with others? This is the question that separates the late bloomer from the drifter. The drifter runs, but without aim. The late bloomer walks steadily, slowly perhaps, but with aim so clear that nothing can stop them. This is the power you must claim for yourself. Stop chasing every distraction. Stop comparing your pace to others. Begin instead to clarify your own path. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? What am I here to build? What is my true aim? When you know these answers, you no longer feel late, you feel aligned. The late bloomer also learns something profound about fulfillment. Because they have waited, because they have questioned, because they have searched, they do not confuse success with surface rewards. They understand that true success is alignment between who you are and what you give. It is not simply money or status or recognition. Those things come and go. True success is knowing you lived for what mattered, that you gave your best gift, that you fulfilled your purpose. And this understanding is why the late bloomer not only wins, but wins with peace. Their bloom does not trap them in emptiness, it fills them with meaning. Let me offer you another principle to engrave into your mind. Success without purpose is failure in disguise. Say it aloud, write it down, make it yours. Success without purpose is failure in disguise. How many men and women gained wealth but lost themselves? How many reached fame but fell into despair? They bloomed quickly but without clarity, and so their bloom poisoned them. The late bloomer avoids this tragedy because they have been forced to confront meaning before reward. Their bloom is not just achievement, it is fulfillment. If you feel delayed, take comfort in this. Your delay is giving you time to find your clarity. Do not waste it. Use it. Spend your hidden years asking the questions others ignore. Refine your vision. Define your purpose. Align your steps with your calling. And when your bloom comes, it will not only be strong, it will be right. It will not only impress others, it will satisfy you. That is the priceless advantage of the late bloomer. They bloom not just with power, but with peace. Let us close this section with a declaration that affirms this principle of clarity. Speak it now, write it on your page, let it echo in your spirit until it becomes unshakable. I move with clarity, and clarity makes me unstoppable. These words are not merely hopeful, they are a law of power. Say them daily and you will discover that your bloom, however late it may seem, is exactly on time, carrying with it both victory and fulfillment. There is another hidden strength in the journey of the late bloomer, one that often becomes their defining trait: resilience. Resilience is the ability to rise again after every fall, to continue forward after every setback, to hold steady when the winds of life blow strongest. The early bloomer, often praised for their quick ascent, has not yet tasted enough failure to develop resilience. They shine brightly while the skies are clear, but when storms arrive, they falter. The late bloomer, however, has weathered storms long before recognition ever came. Their resilience was forged in silence, in obscurity, in years of unseen battle, and when their time arrives, their resilience makes them unstoppable. Resilience is not merely survival, it is transformation. Each setback becomes a lesson. Each failure becomes a teacher. Each disappointment becomes a sculptor, shaping the character of the late bloomer into something extraordinary. Where others see obstacles, the resilient see stepping stones. Where others see endings, the resilient see beginnings. This perspective is the fruit of the late bloomer's journey. They do not crumble under pressure because pressure is all they have ever known. And having learned to stand in silence, they can stand when the world finally watches. This is why their bloom, once it comes, is not fragile but enduring. I want you to remember a law that governs resilience, and I want you to say it aloud, to write it, to live it. Every fall I survive builds the strength that makes me thrive. This is not simply encouragement, it is universal law. The very things that seemed to set you back were in fact setting you up. Every failure you thought was final was merely a rehearsal for your eventual triumph. The late bloomer understands this deeply, for they have experienced it time and time again. And so their resilience becomes not just a trait but an identity. They are unbreakable not because life was easy, but because life was hard. Consider the diamond. It is nothing more than carbon, the same material as common coal, but under heat and pressure, it transforms into something priceless, something unbreakable, something brilliant. The late bloomer is a diamond in the making. While others may shine quickly like glass, fragile and temporary, the late bloomer is being pressed, refined, and transformed into something the world cannot destroy. When their bloom arrives, it shines with a brilliance that lasts because it has been tested in the furnace of resilience. Perhaps you feel now that you are under great pressure, that life is weighing heavily upon you, that your struggles are relentless. Do not despise this pressure. It is forming you. It is preparing you. It is sculpting you into a vessel capable of carrying greatness. The pressure that feels unbearable today is the very force that will make you unbreakable tomorrow. Write this down and speak it. Pressure is not my enemy, it is my maker. When you ingrain this truth in your heart, you will stop resenting your hardships and start seeing them as the chisel that shapes your destiny. The late bloomer's resilience gives them a different relationship with time. They no longer fear delay because they have survived it. They no longer fear failure because they have outlived it. They no longer fear obscurity because they have endured it. Their resilience has taught them that nothing is final until they declare it so, and so they live free from the fear that cripples others. They move forward with calm strength, knowing that whatever comes, they have already proven they can rise. This calm resilience is what makes their bloom not just powerful but unshakable. Resilience also teaches gratitude. Those who have lost much value what remains. Those who have suffered much treasure their blessings. The late bloomer, having endured, walks with humility and gratitude, never forgetting the valley that shaped them. And this gratitude multiplies their success. It makes them not only achievers but givers, not only winners but teachers. They share their story to lift others, to remind them that resilience is possible, that rising again is possible, that blooming late is not blooming less, it is blooming stronger. You may think now of your own setbacks, the jobs lost, the opportunities missed, the relationships broken, the years that seemed wasted. Do not see them as wasted. See them as weight added to your foundation. See them as the hammer and chisel that carved strength into your soul. Nothing was wasted. Everything has contributed to your bloom, and when it finally arrives, you will see that the story of your resilience is not a footnote, but the very essence of your greatness. Let us seal this section with a declaration of resilience. Write it boldly, speak it firmly, live it daily. I rise after every fall, and nothing can break me. These words are your shield, your sword, your anthem. Repeat them until they echo louder than your doubts, until they drown out every whisper of despair. For the truth is clear. The late bloomer wins not because they never fell, but because they always rose. The story of the late bloomer reaches its crescendo when preparation meets destiny. For years they walked in silence, often misunderstood, sometimes mocked, sometimes even forgotten. But the very obscurity that seemed like punishment was in fact preservation. It preserved their spirit from the corruption of premature success. It preserved their mind from the arrogance of early applause. It preserved their soul from chasing the wrong prizes. And when their appointed season arrives, they step forward not half-formed but whole, not shallow but deep, not fragile but unbreakable. The late bloomer's victory is complete because it is built on all the years the world never saw. At this point, the late bloomer understands something that the early riser often misses. Success is not the goal, but the byproduct. The true goal is growth, becoming more than you were, stretching yourself beyond what you thought possible, aligning your life with principle and truth. Success follows as a shadow follows the body. It cannot be chased directly. It must be earned through cause and effect. The late bloomer knows this, and so their bloom is never empty. It is filled with wisdom, character, and meaning. That is why their victory satisfies the soul. It was never about the trophy, but about the transformation. Let me remind you of a law that summarizes the journey of every late bloomer, and I want you to write it, to speak it, to make it your own. Transformation precedes triumph. Say it slowly. Transformation precedes triumph. This is not simply an idea, it is the governing law of all lasting success. Before you achieve outwardly, you must transform inwardly. Before you bloom in the world, you must bloom in the soul. And the late bloomer, by the very nature of their path, has undergone this transformation deeply, thoroughly, unshakably. That is why when they triumph, they never collapse under the weight of their own victory. They have become strong enough to carry it. Think of the impact of such lives. The late bloomer not only wins for themselves, but they become an example for others. They show their children, their peers, their community that life is not over when youth has passed. They show that time is not an enemy, but an ally. They show that patience, discipline, endurance, and clarity will always outlast speed, appearance, and shallow beginnings. Their story is a torch passed to others, saying, "Do not quit, do not despair, your bloom is still possible." In this way, the late bloomer does more than achieve, they inspire. And inspiration is the highest form of contribution. Perhaps as you listen now, you realize something powerful. You are a late bloomer yourself. You have felt behind, overlooked, unseen. You have carried the weight of delay and wondered if your time will ever come. Let me say to you with complete certainty, it will. If you continue to sow, if you continue to endure, if you continue to trust the process, your bloom will arrive. And when it does, it will not only surprise others, it will surprise you. You will look back and see that every delay was preparation, every setback was shaping, every quiet season was necessary. Nothing was wasted, everything was used. Do not let this truth remain only as inspiration. Make it a discipline. Begin now to write your vision clearly. Begin now to declare your laws daily. Begin now to align your actions with the person you intend to become. For blooming is not magic. It is cause and effect, seed and harvest, law and result. The laws you have spoken, the affirmations you have written, the principles you have carried, will ingrain themselves into your mind and shape your reality. That is why we repeat them, why we write them, why we live them. They are not idle words, they are mental seeds, and in time they bear fruit. So let us plant the final seed together, the declaration that will anchor the journey of every late bloomer listening to my voice. Write it boldly, speak it firmly, live it daily. I am right on time and my bloom is inevitable. Say it with conviction until it becomes your belief. Live it until it becomes your reality, and soon you will see it become your destiny. These words are not wishful, they are law. And when you align with them, you will never again fear delay, for you will know the truth. The late bloomer is not late at all. They are victorious, timely, destined, and prepared. And so we close with this challenge. Embrace your season, trust your process, honor your journey. Refuse comparison, refuse despair, refuse the lie that it is too late. Your life, your work, your contribution, your greatness, all of it is still unfolding. The world has not yet seen your full bloom, and when it does, it will be undeniable. Take courage, walk forward, and remember, the late bloomer is the one who truly